Dragons are back. Once, when I was channeling Arthur Pendragon, he said to me to look for the skies for clues. And that seems particularly pertinent at the moment. What with blazing fireballs raining down and once in a lifetime astrological alignments, there's a lot going on in our atmosphere in 2026. But if we take the stance that we create our entire reality in order to learn and develop our souls, then surely when we personally see things in the sky, surely they represent clues on our illuminated path. And particularly prevalent at the moment are dragons. Now, this has happened before. In December 2020, at that time, there were dragons in the sky. There were clouds that looked like dragons. There were lightning strikes that illuminated shapes that looked like dragons. The internet was going crazy. I was seeing them. There were dragon songs playing on the radio. I remember I was out and I drove past a building that had the word dragon emblazoned on it in red neon lights. And when we got a kitten, I asked my children what they wanted to call it, and they called him Dragon. And what happened in 2020? Well, we were faced with a period of deep global, cultural, and personal introspection. A period of time where we had to align with whatever truth we deeply felt was correct for us and act accordingly. And it divided. Yeah, it did. But it also brought us very deeply into personal awareness and alignment with self. For many people, it was the beginning of their awakening journey. It was also a period of isolation and a time that served to make communing with self, to all intents and purposes, unavoidable. And so it is again that I've noticed that I keep seeing clouds that are shaped like dragons. Not just one at a time, but skies full. I'm on the motorway and I'm seeing lorries that have the word wyvern written on them and a huge picture of a wyvern type dragon. Suddenly, my spirit guides that I'm speaking to for clients include dragons and wyverns with a regularity that I've not seen before. And today, my algorithm threw up a tarot reader that was talking about dragons. And of course, the brilliant Jack Morrigan, who started channeling dragons years and years ago, and was actually training as a scientist, was not woo in any way, and just randomly started channeling dragons. He's back channeling dragons. He stopped for a long time, and they've made a reappearance. So something about dragons is really important right now, not just for me, but for the collective. And dragons, of course, are a huge part of British identity. Our patron saint, St. George, famously slayed a dragon. Our towns and cities and countries have dragons as symbols. Glastonbury, for instance, has a red and white dragon that do battle once a year and they parade them through the streets. I think that's for Beltane. I think that's for May Day. Cornwall and Wales have the same thing. Uffington, home to the very famous white horse in the landscape, which is often argued to be a dragon, not a horse, has Dragon Hill, which some argue is where St. George slayed the dragon. But seeing as he was Georgian, it's unlikely. And obviously was for some other ceremonial or ritualistic purpose, I believe, scryation. But again, that has a link to dragons, being carrion feeders effectively. Um, the House of Wessex, the Royal House of Athelwulf, intrinsically linked, famously linked to his grandson Alfred the Great. Um, it covered much of modern day Dorset and Hampshire and encapsulated the edges of a few other modern day counties in the south of England. And they had the wyvern as a symbol. Um, there's famous stories of dragons or worms, as we call them here. The Lambton worm, of course, is a very famous English fairy tale. And the Isles and mountains of Scotland themselves are said to have been formed by the falling of the dying dragon, the Storworm. We have Castle Drogo in the West Country, which is a fairly modern castle. I think it was built in the 1800s by the Drax family. However, they named it Castle Drogo, which means dragon. There must be a reason for that. We even call barrow wights the beings that protect burial mounds in the UK dracons, and that's intrinsically linked to the word dragon, which means one who protects or guards. And of course, you have this image of dragons sitting and guarding their hoard. And I think that comes from dracons guarding the burial mounds. It's folk memory, effectively. Um, Dragons are a really deep part of the British psyche. So is there some event happening in our skies that we're being guarded by these ancient elemental creatures? And why are so many dragons coming to the fore once more? Um, are they coming to our defense? Are they coming with a message or a warning? What's happening that requires dragons to step in at this point in time? For me, I very much link dragons to the original serpent, a deep primordial knowledge, if you like, of protection and an upgrade to the psyche. And if you haven't encountered dragon energy before, initially it can be experienced as a feeling of dread, much like when you first encounter the Fae. Not fairies, the Fae, the humanoid sized ones. It's often accompanied by a very similar feeling of dread that you feel in your body, not your mind. And that actually isn't dread. It's an innate bodily response. It's instinct to something so ancient and different. And we intrinsically feel it in our bodies more than our minds because our cells recognize it more than our conscious minds. Our body is responding to the different energy without the mind and a thought process becoming involved at all. It's an instinctive response. And it reminds me very much of the old cartographers' phrase for places that were unknown or mysterious or where explorers feared to tread because it was perceived as dangerous. And they would write, "There be dragons" on the map where it was unexplored and just leave it at that. But I think at the moment, we're being asked to step into that realm. So let's find out why. Let's pull some cards. Now, I asked my protected dragon, um, he's a black dragon, why this was happening in my daily meditation. And he was quite cryptic, but he told me that some humans have dragon DNA in their genetic makeup. Um, and I checked. I said, "What you mean reptilian?" "No, dragon." Now, I've also had a situation previously where I've been in the forest and the trees have told me that there used to be dragons. So that's an interesting aside. Um, but the black dragon who's in my spirit guide group, he said that they're appearing now to make us look at our origins, the origins of the human race. And his exact words were, and I'm just going to get them up and read them. His exact words were, "You are about to find out who your family are." And I'm not quite sure what he was talking about. So we're gonna, is he talking about a genetic breakthrough? Is he talking about some sort of beyond the veil contact that is undeniable on a global level? Um, but dragons are part of it. And when I asked the purpose of this, he said to make you family, um, to bring you into the fold, humans. Um, And there was very much a sense of not just dragons, but more than one species sort of saying, it's time, it's enough. You've been ignorant long enough. Come home. He said that I was in the fifth dimension and dragons existed in the seventh dimension, or above. Um, but they can affect our dimension to draw our attention. And that's exactly what they're doing. So let's pull some cards and see what we get through to try and elaborate on why there's dragons in the sky. So on my desk to the side today, I might move you round actually. Let me move you round. So I'm going to pull some cards. The light was better the other way around, you see, but my desk's on the wonk otherwise. So the first cards I'm going to use is the Mists of Avalon Oracle by Rose and Sarah. There you go. Now I'm going to use those because they specifically have dragons in there. So let's have a look at those and ask, why are dragons? Why are dragons coming up? Put the little book up there now. Why are dragons making themselves known to us now? Why are dragons making themselves known to us now? Why are dragons in the sky? Why are we seeing dragons? Why have they returned suddenly since the first time, really on a national and global level, to everyone since 2020? Why? Obviously, a lot of people channel dragons all the time, but why are they here for us now? Why they things? Okay. When they put it, when they throw these cards in reverse, it's because they want you to, if you see, they've got meanings all the way around. So when they throw them in the reverse, it's not because they want them to be reversed. It's because they want you to read it as that particular orientation meaning. Why are dragons coming for us now? Why are dragons coming for us now? It's interesting. They chucked a load on the floor. A load on the floor. So that is too many, but we'll take the top one. And maybe this next one as well, I think. Right. So the underlying card is the Isle of Avalon. This way up, that's healing. But I'm not picking up in a sense of healing, there's something wrong that needs healing. It's a sense of healing as this bringing together, um, that part of our journey is to understand our place in the wider context of things. So the first card we got out was devotion, Lancelot. Um, you see, he's riding a white horse, which often symbolizes otherworld. A lot of very famous stories and deities, Rhiannon, Arianna, many rode out of otherworld on a white horse. Horses, obviously, it's a fire horse year. Horses are very important again this year as well. But or often um, dragons have been referred to in popular culture as fire horses. So that's very interesting as well, that we're in a fire horse year. And something that is sometimes represented as a fire-breathing horse or referred to as a fire horse is dragons. So it's almost like they come together. Um, and so that card is devotion of otherworld in that sense. So it's almost like they've been watching us. They've been shadowing us effectively to see how we got on. Now, the next card is the High Priestess of Avalon. There's a very feminine energy with this one. And actually, that's interesting because a lot of the time, I think people associate dragons as being a very masculine energy. And the black dragon that is in my spirit team is a very masculine energy. However, there are female dragons and they are protective and gentle and nurturing. They are like the divine feminine. So this is interesting. The Priestess of Avalon has come up upside down. That's what she looks like. And if you see, there's birds in the sky there, if you can see, just like the background, dragons in the sky, and she's almost conjuring them up. It's like the women are calling them in, but that's come up upside down, and that is healing as well. So there's this sense of returning to wholeness, but not on a personal level, on a collective level, almost like calling back parts of ourselves that we didn't even know we were missing. Missing information, missing pieces, understanding our place within other species is what I'm getting. And again, the white hart has come out. Now, the white hart in British folklore is usually a sign of a sacred quest appearing. So there's this sign, there's this symbolism with the white hart embedded in our psyche nationally that an omen is the wrong word, but they foretell the coming of something. They're a sign, like a comet in the sky, for medieval people, that something is going to happen. And that has come up upside down as well. And that upside down, this is perspective. So again, it's how we see things, what we understand to be true. So there's very much already a sense that what we understand to be true, something is going to happen that challenges our understanding of what we believe to be true. And but and that it's coming from it's coming from other world, it's coming from something outside of our comfort zone, collectively and culturally. However, it's being done with love and it's being done to mend the parts of us that are broken, I'm hearing. Now, Brigid has come out now. Oh, there we go. Now, again, this is very timely because I've been dreaming about Brigid as well recently. And she's to do with a divine radiance, the empowerment of the soul. She was quite a formidable character, an Irish princess that uh, flew, fled because she was uncomfortable fulfilling her role. She ran away from societal expectations, the story goes, and she found herself in a valley in not on the Irish mainland. I think in Wales, maybe on the Welsh-English border, not sure. And there she lived peacefully as a hermit, protected animals. She's associated with hares and defended them when hunters came into the land. Um, Even as a woman alone, she stood against them and defied them. So the fact that she's come in as the associated deity to this energy is very interesting. It's almost like we're being asked to refuse what we're told about whatever it is that happens. We're going to be told to believe one thing, and actually, we need to go with what we believe and feel when this happens. And then we have Igraine, famously King Arthur's mother from Cornwall, again associated with dragons. Obviously, Pendragon is the Brythonic word for victorious battle leader. Pen is a promontory. In Brythonic, in British, we use it for to describe a hill. A prominent hill is a pen. So a pendragon, or pendragon, as we call it, as I explained earlier, dracon is the word for protector, guardian. So a pendragon or a pendragon is actually a battle leader that guards and protects his flock and rises above the others in order to do this. That's what it intrinsically means, like all things in the Brythonic language. What the word initially means and actually what it represents are both of equal importance. So it has to be read in a symbolic and visual conjuring way, as well as what we associate the word with. And Igraine is the mother of Arthur Pendragon. So this is empowerment, but empowerment from feminine strength. And again, that harks back to the priestess energy we've got. Now, in in the reverse, as she's come up, this is motherhood. So this is origins again. This is what makes up our species. There's an energy here about something happening that makes us aware. And Brigid as well was almost like a mother figure to the hares and to the wildlife. It's making us aware of our wider place, not only within our own DNA makeup, but amongst other species. Interesting. Okay. That is not what I was expecting. I was expecting some sort of, big elemental, shifts, but this is different. This is about our physical makeup as humans. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to look now at the rooted woman oracle. There we go. Ooh, it doesn't want to pick it up. There we go. The rooted woman oracle by Sharon Blackie, and the artwork is by Hannah Willow, who is an amazing artist and maker of jewelry and all sorts of things. She's now based in Cornwall, but she was from Wiltshire and Avebury area for many years, but she's now moved to Cornwall. So if you're down there, pay her a visit, go and have a look at her gallery and her work. Why are dragons appearing in our sky, and what is it they want us to know about our origins? I'm being drawn to take this one as well. Okay, I'm going to take an underlying for that suddenly as well. Um, what is it the dragons are trying to tell us? Okay. There is again a sense of something going to happen. And there's that quest energy again. Okay. What is it that's going to happen? It's funny that the last time dragons were really prevalent was 2020, because there is a lockdown energy is the wrong word, but there is an incubation energy, an isolation energy here. So the first two cards came out together, and that was plumbing the depths. So very being asked to look within, but also, the sea is the most mysterious. We know less about the sea than we know about space, right? So this card really says to me, and again, there's a whale in the sea and a crab looking on. So there's there's a creature of the sea in the sea. And there's a creature not of the sea, but on the threshold here, looking into it. The crab is both of the sea and of the land. And there's a sense here that the creatures of the unknown are trying to show us we're on the threshold. They're trying to show us what we don't know that we need to. And the card that came out of it was threshold, peeking through the door. We are on the edge of something here happening. There's a very strong sense of something that's going to happen. Um, but the card that came out next was flourishing and regenerating. And look again, a hare. See, this is brigid energy. We've got the Uffington White Horse there. Can you see that? There, the Uffington White Horse. That is the place where there's a hill called Dragon Hill that's come out. So that's a homestead, and a fort, but it's also sacred and ceremonial, Dragon Hill and the Uffington White Horse. So there's a sense here that of like a rebirthing of our understanding of self that is collective, not individual. I think our experiences of what happens in order to trigger this is going to be individual, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Now, the underlying card for these was the bridge between worlds. Now, water is emotion. Water is also conscious. Water is, if you look at the work of Veda Austin, which is absolutely incredible about the information that water holds for millennia, and can be read. She's busy compiling an encyclopedia of all the iconography that it communicates in. Um, this water and this bridge, it's like the ancient mysteries of the world, the knowledge that we have forgotten or have never been imparted to us. We're going to be given access to it in order to cross from one side to the other where there's magic or where there's greater understanding that causes us to believe in magic or to believe in things that we normally wouldn't have believed in. The center of the reading is the Kalak, the protector of the wild, the winter crone. Now, I think this very much represents where we are as a species. We're almost at a crisis point, aren't we? Questioning where we're going with our collective purpose. And there's a real dichotomy, isn't there, between the people who want to live as one with the earth, who want to live as one with one another, to the people who are the diametric opposite of that. And I think the Calic here represents that crunch point. Um, and then we have the fall. Now, as the underlying energy of this. And again, and this is why I think these experiences that awaken people to an understanding that humans aren't just human, um, and that also we're not not the only species I'm hearing. Okay, this is going somewhere interesting. Um, I interpret this fall card as being you, when this happens to you, something is going to happen to all of us collectively and individually. You can interpret this situation you find yourself in as the end of the world, as a fall, as a collapse, as a being, dropped into the ocean to be consumed by sharks, all, or you can give into it and fly. I'm hearing adaptability is a test. Right. Okay. So this thing that's going to happen to us, and I don't think it's going to be the same thing. We're all going to experience a different timeline, I'm hearing. Okay. So there's multiple timelines here, but on all of them, each of us individually will experience something collectively, I'm hearing. So something happens in the world on each of our timelines that challenges us to adapt to it or collapse to it. Okay. And again, we've got the quest energy, but that's as a process. Again, now there's a horse again and a fiery sky. It's come out sideways as a process. And there, look, the old woman of dreams. Now you see that she's got here all sorts of wisps and different things that form different shapes, a lot like the clouds that we're seeing that look like dragons or whatever. Look to the skies for clues. What you see in the clouds and what they represent to you at this time are important to you personally, to what we're learning collectively on your timeline. Now, we've just had a huge timeline convergence where we all sort of crashed into each other. I think we're going to have a scatter of separate ones again. And all these different things that are coming out, the deer and the owl, and we're all going to experience this next part differently. Not in individually to a certain extent, we're going to be in groups, I'm seeing. Um, but the purpose is the same. It's to test our adaptability. Do we collapse or do we adapt? Do we see opportunity or adventure, or do we still we cling and dread? And the next card is incubation. And that's what and again, you see all the wisps round the bear as well. Now the bear can hibernate, right? So the bear can go in and see their way through this while keeping themselves safe and nourished. So I don't think that our collective is going to, find this as difficult as everybody else is going to, I'm hearing. And the underlying energy is temptation. So the temptation is going to be to think, oh, disaster. But actually, you're being asked to look at what opportunities this event, whatever it is on your timeline, is going to offer, because this is the call. This is it. This is the moment where we decide, make or break, I'm hearing, where we decide individually how we interact with our timeline. And the next underlying card is the Grail Bearer. So it's a gift. This is a gift and a light to lead you on your path. Let's find out what those potential timelines are, shall we? Because obviously the dragons came in 2020, and however you experienced 2020, for some people it was absolutely awful. For some people, it was a wonderful break from the world. Some people were very scared. Some people were not scared at all. So some people believed, some people didn't believe. It still divides. Some people vaccinated, some people didn't vaccinate. So we're not talking about everyone having the same experience of whatever happens. Um, but it's interesting that they're coming up again now because that was a global phenomena. So it leads me to believe that the things that happen, the different things that happen on our different timelines are going to be global phenomena. Right, let's ask what they are. What are the different global phenomena that we're going to encounter here? What are the different phenomena that we're going to encounter here? Okay, they've come out together. Right. What are the different phenomena? So the first card we've got out, is a birthing. The first card we've got out is temptation again. So I think what this is saying, yeah. So the underlying energy is initiation, which is what I was talking about. Is almost going to force people to change and to adapt. It's not a mirror, though I'm being told. So it's not something where you personally have to look within in the sense of learning about yourself from within. It's it's a choice point. It's choosing how you react to. And the first card is temptation. Again, she's being offered wine. And to me, this is really the people who aren't awake. This is the people who haven't woken up, who are on the awakening journey. And whatever happens to them, they find themselves in the cairn, in the portal to mystery. And there's a cat in this cairn. Now, cats are multidimensional, so they can see other dimensions. So this really harks back to me of this real sense that something's going to happen in the world of those who are not awake that blows their minds. Is it disclosure? Because the portal to mystery with a cat in that cave really reminds me of the Owen Agat, which is the cave of cats where the Morrigan is said to have made her home. And warriors used to have to go into there in the dark to initiate, to almost as like a sort of initiative graduation, to go in there and commune with the Morrigan, to face their fears, to find wisdom. So there's a sense here, but actually, what they usually met was themselves. Think about that. Um, so it says to me here that the people who really aren't awake at all, who haven't had any sort of spiritual awakening at all, they're fully asleep, they're going to encounter something on their timeline that opens their minds, and they're going to begin their journey. They're going to have their initiatory experience into the more, which we're already on. Then you've got the Isle of Women. Now, this is Maiden Mother Crone. But it always reminds me of the Morrigan, because of obviously the three sisters. Um, Interestingly, they're standing in front of a hill, which looks very much like Dragon Hill or Silbury Hill, which again is another ceremonial hill. It's not a burial mound, and we don't really understand what they're for. I've always believed they're for scryation, but hopefully I'm going to make a journey to Silbury Hill with my friend Amanda soon, and we're going to we'll be able to have a little delve into that from a psychic point of view and see what we see. So I will get back to you on that. But the underlying energy for that is the Fisher King's court. Now, if you know the story of the Fisher King, you will know that Sir Percival, on his Grail quest, finds himself at the court of the Fisher King, and where the Holy Grail is, where the answer is. and he asks the wrong questions. And so he doesn't win the grail, inherit the grail effectively, and he has to go away and spend some time in the wilderness and then come back and ask the right questions. Now, the thing about the Fisher King's court, particularly that sticks in my mind, is that when Sir Percival first arrives, the Fisher King is surrounded by amazing things. He has everything he needs. He's surrounded by beauty and art. He owns the Holy Grail. He owns other magical items, but he doesn't appreciate them. He doesn't see their worth. He's just miserable. He's miserable and isolated and depressed. So this is can be interpreted as like a low vibrational energy, a low level energy, not appreciating what you've got, not seeing what you've got, and not asking the right questions of yourself. So there is a sort of personal investigative energy to this. And again, you've got the three parts of the divine feminine here. So it's almost like those who are awake, those who create, may find themselves challenged in what happens. I also draw attention to the fact that there's water here as well. Now, this could be the flow. So it's almost like even those who are awake may find themselves in a position where they are challenged to accept their own phases of life and mortality, but also to check themselves. Am I appreciating what I have? Am I asking the right questions of myself in order to stay in the flow? Because there's that river next to it as well. But there's deer here and birds. Now, to me, this is Gwyn ap Nuith, this is the Morrigan, this is Branwen, this is Rhiannon. There's protection here. There is guidance here if you ask for it. Now, the center of the reading, again, is the flow. We're being challenged to stay in the flow. And again, there's the wise fox. There's the calm, peaceful deer who, despite being a prey animal, is not afraid, and moves in packs to keep itself safe. So there's a sense of stay in the flow, but also meet with your community, make connections. And there's the owl of shape-shifting, transformation. There's a transformative energy, and there's water again. So I would think that there is a water event going to happen. I'm being drawn to this cliff here because it almost looks white, like an iceberg or a glacier to me. And I've never read the card in that way. I think one of the things that's going to happen is darkness, power outages. One of the things that's going to happen might be on one of the timelines, a glacier collapsing into the sea and causing a tsunami potentially, or some event as a result of this happening. It also, I'm being told, it also might reveal something where it's collapsed that might challenge people's perceptions as well. Now, in the center of the reading, we've got almost two opposite cards. And again, this goes back to how do you choose to interact with this event that's on each of our timelines? That's an interesting slip, isn't it? What could that mean? Timelands. Are we going to different timelands on our timelines? Different things are going to happen. So we've got flow, but the underlying card is initiation So you've got the darkness and the light. You've got a choice here. You can go with it. You can adapt. This is what the dragons were saying. You can adapt and you can go with it, or you can be in the darkness and only see the negative of it. Okay, so ask yourselves, what's the learning? How can I grow from this? How can I adapt? How can I flow? How can I remain positive? Make the connections with your community. There's someone riding out of the other world on a white horse. Some of the timelines are going to have contact, I'm hearing. Now, is this disclosure contact? Um, I don't normally do galactics. It's not my thing. I've seen a mantis being once in meditation, but I'm not normally, speaking to galactics. So, but I'm, is this disclosure type contact? But is it also otherworld contact for some people on the timelines? And for those people, you're being led because the underlying card for this energy is the Peregrina. She is a guide on your journey. She is lighting the way on your path. She is the tour guide for your pilgrimage. She is, and again, she has the wise fox, the warning crow. These people, this might be awake people. Awake people are going to have something happen to them that consolidates their understanding and leads them on to the next bit. Um, that's what I'm getting. And that increases your knowledge and gives you foresight. You may actually be given additional gifts here that open your mind in a different way to these people who are going to have their minds open for the first time. You're going to be given additional gifts. And then there's the people who have to go deeply within. I wonder whether this is an underground energy as well. And look, there's a water again, water underground. Is there an earthquake? But there's light underground, there's flames. So is this an earthquake where magma comes up from the water? I'm not sure about that. But it's going to lead some people into a dark place that is rewarding because there's light down there. So it's not the end of the world for those people. And they are the people. So these are the people, some of the people are going to have their dark night of the soul as a result of this, but it's going to shift them. So they're the people who are already awake, but a little bit behind us. Okay. And the underlying energies from this is fertility and creativity. It's the birthing of something new. And again, this comes back to what the dragons were saying about understanding the origin of our species. Strength and endurance. So it's almost like the two things that are going to happen is one is going to be a disclosury contact, galactic and otherworld type energy understanding. And one is going to be something more physical, literal, that involves strength and endurance and adaptability. But that's Maka from one of the Morrigan sisters, and a she is a divine feminine type of energy that is very much standing in your power. So that's calling you to find your strength. I wonder if we use the Colette Baron Reid cards, we'll get a more of an idea about what this energy, what are these actual events? What are the actual nature of the events? Rock bottom, and we got cracks in rock again. See, there's different paths. Again, different paths. It's all coming out as a process, all on its side. all on its side. And they're all leading us home. And there's an owl again. And look, there's a clock. There's a clock and there's an astrolabe on this. There's a clock and an astrolabe and a compass. And details. We're being given information. It's the home card I'm picking up. It's got fairies in it. It's got, what does that say on there? I've never noticed that. It says welcome life. I'm reading that as galactic. This has got disclosure energy to it. But also, look at this card that's come out first about the potential timelines. There's at least two here. And there's cracking. So there's a geological event here. There's a geological event here that leads wide open. See, I was going to say that leads to awakening with wide open. But that makes me think of a rift in the ocean, I'm hearing. There's definitely like some geological energy to one of the timelines. Then we've got details, a compass, an astrolabe, learning. This is finding out something about our own origins of the species. And we're being asked to just go with it, stay in the flow. Again, we've got this owl energy. Intention. There's the owl. And again, a dandelion. See, that's a clock as well. You blow it, and however many times you blow it is what time it is. But this is time standing still. No one's blown this. Where's that other clock? I can't even see where it was. Oh, it's there. There's a clock there. There's a clock on this one as well. There's something about time standing still in order to incubate something. And that other card we got out in the Rooted Women was incubation. Something's brewing that's going to hatch. All these have come out on their side, like it's a process. And again, you've got follow the leader. And what time is on the clock? 10 to midnight, 10 to midday, because it's daytime. You've got fairies, you've got birds, you've got ducklings. It's almost like it doesn't matter what point you're at on your journey, you're going to be moved on by what happens. We've got the underlying of listening. It's like we're going to be forced to see something that changes us on all our different timelines. Some are galactic, some are geological, but all of it is going to sweep away the veil of illusion I'm hearing and lead us home. There's a definite sense here that all our timelines have an event. An event, I'm hearing. Into the unknown. 7. Lucky 7. A very sacred number in Hinduism, Buddhism. The underlying is the bone collector. That's the shaman. That's the ultimate wisdom. That's having, the magician. It's having all the information you need. So it's almost like they're saying to us here, she's blindfolded. She doesn't really know what's going on. Maybe we're not allowed to know the exact nature of it, but that we have everything we need to deal with it. And again, there's this initiatory test-like challenge energy coming up here in the sense that There's a hare on that card as well, and a deer. It's like we're being asked to, it's like a, I'm hearing it's like a passing out exam. You know, when you've done military training or whatever, and when you sort of graduate, you do a passing out, you have a passing out parade, where you officially qualify and all your family comes. See, and saying all your family comes, really, there's something galactic about this. There's something disclosurey about this. There's something, the blindfold is being taken off our eyes on our timelines in different ways. But what happens to you is not important. It's how you react to it. It's staying calm and knowing that you're fully equipped to deal with it and to stay in the flow and to adapt. That's fascinating. And look, field of dreams. And again, we've got this egg, things hatching from an egg. Now, the fairies are hatching from an egg. So it's like we're growing our wings. And again, there's this passing out energy. It's like a graduation energy. This feels like the next stage of awakening for everybody, no matter what place you are on that journey, even if you're asleep. If you're asleep, you're going to be woken up. You're going to have your mind blown. Pardon me. And whatever stage you're on in this journey, you're going to the next stage. And also wherever you are, you know, you've got civilization, you've got people living in the wilderness, people living at one with nature, you've got people in a magical realm. Wherever you are on your journey, wherever you are in your frequency, I'm hearing, there's something coming that's going to bump you onto the next stage. Oh, come on, tell us what it is. Tell us what it is. What is it? Come on, give us a clue. Give us a clue. What is it? What is it? Okay. Again, there's at least two timelines here. At least two, because we've got the mountain. This is the descent into wisdom. This is dark night of the soul. This is a discovery of something ancient that destroys all our current narratives. This is learning through challenge and fear and dark night of the soul, and it's illumination through challenge. The other one is the Golden Palace. I saw this temple in my dreams last year. And I was omming in the dome and sitting in the resonance. That feels important now, that I was just sitting and making the sound of the universe in the situation. So this is the learning through joy, through amazement, through sacred wonder, through elevation of understanding, I'm hearing. So you've got nature here, but you've got the golden temple that we've created, but it's rising up out of nature. There's something astonishing on the other timeline that needs to be met with wonder, not fear, and that deeply roots us. Look at the roots on this. And again, this is understanding where we came from. Are we going to find out that humans aren't human? that humans are an amalgamation of other species somehow. And you've got the flying again, like the dragon energy, things coming in the sky to tell us this information. And so you've got these two, at least two timelines, the dark and the light. But there is light in the dark. So if the dark thing happens to you, don't worry because the light is shining on that to force you to look at something about yourself or about your understanding. I'm hearing it's challenging our understanding. They both are. But you can choose whether to challenge that understanding through difficulty and adversity, I'm hearing, or through joy and wonder. And the underlying card is a balancing act. We're all going to be challenged to stay on a line of sanity. And, this is a ship, this is the journey, this is taking you somewhere on an amazing thing. I mean, it's on a clear sphere, it's on a crystal sphere. The ship isn't on the sea, the ship is being taken on its rope, on its thread here by something magical and with love. These rose petals are like heart shapes. But it's part of our journey. What's she standing on? She's standing on angels, an angel, a cherub wing. We're all, it doesn't matter what timeline you're on, we are all coming to a point where something's going to happen. All of us, collectively, but not the same thing. And your challenge is to stay in love. To stay in love and forgiveness and that feminine energy of nurturing, care, consideration. Because that will keep you straight, I'm hearing. That will keep you on the straight and narrow. On this time, you'll be able to not fall. And there's clouds here again. The clouds are really important, what we're seeing in the clouds. And the card underneath this balancing act underlying is dragons. It's dragons, the dragon's lair. And the ice, again, the ice. I'm getting that there's a glacial collapse in Antarctica, potentially, I'm hearing, on one of the timelines. And that something might be in it, something might be under it. This is a castle or a temple covered in ice. So not only will, and you see there's like falling water here, so not only will the fall of the ice cause a geological event, but it might reveal something that we didn't know was there. Now that dragon hasn't landed on that temple, but it's looking at it, it's flying over it, it's drawing our attention to it. Take it slow. Take it slow and steady. Take all the time you need. Retreat. Don't rush. Don't make rash decisions. But equally important, don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. Keep moving. Keep moving slowly, steadily, rationally, calmly, in your heart. She's got her hand on her heart center. Am I making the best decision moving forward? Keep doing it. Oh my God. The other timeline. Unexpected visitors. This is disclosure energy. This is disclosure. Wow. 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 That's incredible. Okay. There's definitely two timelines. There's geological and leading to historical mind-blowing, and there's disclosure, contact. You've got the little white rabbit. Follow the white rabbit down the rabbit hole. What did he say? We're going to be late. We're going to be late, didn't he? There's this sense of time speeding up. to this point. Wow. Okay, well, there you go. Keep going. Keep going. Sorry, I'm moving my desk around. It's like an earthquake happening. Keep going. There's something coming. Don't be scared. It's good. You can choose how you interact with it, how you move through it, how you deal with it. But whatever you do, see the positive it brings, and you will move through it in the right way. And keep looking in the sky for the dragons.